Prashant Kulkarni, starting business with about $400 to create a network of stores in 22 states in India. It's a story of an entrepreneur who started as an employee in one of the largest tech companies in India, then quitting the well-paying job to start a business.
That is faith, right? And I think since then, he's also launched like 27 food brands. So yep. I think that we're bringing on Prashant now, and he's going to be joining us from India to talk about a global live streaming event on finance. This is really an amazing, oh, there he is. Hi, Prashant.
Hi, all.
All right, good to see you. Well, take it away.
So I believe that. Thank you so much, Mary and Heather, for introducing me. That was fantastic. I'm so excited about this entire session that is happening. And when it all comes to food, I'm really excited about every aspect of the food business that the industry has to offer. So can you see me all? Hi.
Yes, we can see you, Prashant. We can see you and hear you. Maybe you can't hear us. Should be good to go.
Fantastic. So I'm so sorry for that. That was some technical glitch. I was just confirming if I'm visible or no. Otherwise, the entire energy or the enthusiasm that I want to show to you or probably want to generate into you would go for a toss. So here I am, Prashant Kulkarni. I am awake. It's 2:45 in the morning in India. And I'm so much excited to be a part of this fantastic event that Daniel and G has put up for all of you all. So to start off, I'll quickly try and tell you the background that I have. So we started, I basically come from a non-food background industry. I had worked for one of the largest companies in India, that's Infosys. I'm pretty sure most of you might have heard about it. So I used to work for Infosys and had a roadside pani puri. So and had fallen ill. So thought of creating a brand around it, because this entire street food that I'm talking about, it is pani puri. It's a local street food that we get here in India, and it's quite popular here in India. But there was no standardization that was happening. There was no branding that was happening, and there was no innovation that was happening. So I thought maybe this is the calling for me. I quit the, as you all said, well-paying job, and you started my journey towards the food business. So, so when I started off with this, I have zero knowledge about the food industry, how it works, what it would not work. But I have one very important thing, and probably I would want to share it with all the fellow entrepreneurs as well, that you may or may not have the right IQ. But in longer run, the business happens only with your EQ, not with your IQ. So I had a very strong EQ that probably this is my calling, and I have to quit the job and start doing something about the product pani puri. So I quit the job, came back to Indore, my hometown. This is centrally located, central state of my country, India. And that's where my journey started. And so after doing that, we've standardized the entire product, scale it to a lot of cities. And she rightly said that we've started with roughly $400 odd dollars and tried and build the phenomena. The baseline of entire concept that we did was enthusiasm. If we were enthusiastic about everything, if you're enthusiastic about the concept that we're trying to do, if you're enthusiastic about the kind of revolution that we want to bring to the society, then nothing can stop you. So 9 years back, I was novice in food industry. I have zero knowledge about the food industry, how it works, what would not work. But simple, the IQ and the passion and determination to do something about the food industry. These are the brands that we have created. So this is the first, Chatter brand that we've started. This is the brand that I was talking about. This is our flag runner brand that we've started off and scaled it to almost 22 states in India. So having lowest of the investment possible, having the lowest of the knowledge possible, and then to scaling it to 22 states, it was mere enthusiasm. I'm very excited about this entire food business that we are trying to do. The topic that was given to me is cooking in the clouds. So when we see a huge pandemic that is happening pan world, so everybody is getting affected by it. There are a lot of QSRs that are being affected up by it. But as an entrepreneur, you always see an opportunity in all the problems that you see. So I had a roadside pani puri, the street food. So I had a roadside street food, had fallen ill, and created this fantastic brand called Chetter. And just for your FYI, Chetter also got featured in Harvard as one of the case studies that they published. That probably, a simplest of the product is pani puri. Like probably you can get the pani puri in less than 10 cents. And a simpler product like pani puri, and scaling it to this level, and probably in scaling it in 22 odd states, that was some task. So we got featured in Harvard, and all the national media also covered us. So talking about the cloud kitchens here, so I'm trying to give you two different aspects of the entire topic that is given to me. So one is cooking in the clouds. Cooking in the clouds would mean, the simplest of the example that we could think about is maybe cloud kitchens, ghost kitchens, and we are trying to build a fantastic model around it in India. So this is the logo for the cloud kitchens that we are building. This Pick Me logo with a spoon and a fork. The model is very simple. We are trying to build a multi-level entrepreneurship. So, due to this entire COVID scenario, what is happening is there are a lot of job loss that are happening pan India and pan world. But the entrepreneurial mindset, the person who has built this entire dream for somebody else, we are giving them an opportunity to build it for themselves with the right tools, with the right knowledge, with the right experience that we have gained in all these years. So in Pick Me, so this is the new brand that we're talking about. This is the new brand of ours, apart from the Chetter brand that we've started. So Pick Me is basically a cloud kitchen concept. And in this cloud kitchen concept, we are trying to build, multi-branded cloud kitchens on the spare potential of existing restaurant. So, for example, you already have a restaurant, and you have a potential. So, for example, you have a potential to make 100 dishes per day. But for example, your potential is not met by the sales that is happening offline or including online. So what we do is we buy out the spare potential of that particular kitchen or that particular restaurant, and we try and do the standardization of the product. We inculcate the recipes, the SOPs that we have built, and then we try and standardize the products and then try and scale it. So we do the marketing for that particular brand, and that's how the business happens for that restaurant also. So we are trying to work on the spare potential of the existing restaurant. So this is the model this is a fantastic model that we have recently started off. And this entire COVID period, as I always tell you that, you have to see the opportunity in disguise. So here I saw my opportunity. I quickly ramped up my operations. And in this entire COVID period, where entire world was at halt, was stopped, but we kept on working, and we built a fantastic network in almost 3 states. So 3 states, 11 cities. The Pick Me Kitchen is also live. So the model is very simple. We are empowering different restaurants, and we are using the laid off employees or employees who have a vision to start something of their own. So we are giving them an opportunity to be an entrepreneur themselves. So we are trying to build a multi-level entrepreneurship, wherein you're owner of that particular process and trying to build an ecosystem around it. So that's one way of seeing the cooking in the cloud concept. The other vision, or the other aspects of this particular statement can be, thinking very big as in, thinking probably on the cloud 9. So when you have a frugal mindset, when you always think of creating ideas or innovation, or pivoting your business model if the situations are not going right in your in your favor. So probably you'll always have that kind of a eureka moment, wherein you can think of out of the box, or probably out of the world, and think of cloud. So you have to start imagining on a different level altogether. So cooking on the cloud. So cooking on the cloud would mean that you'd have an eagle view of the entire business that is happening below you, and then you can start generating revenues like this, or probably you can start pivoting your business like this. So this gives you a different mindset altogether. So coming from a non-entrepreneurship or a non-business background and working for somebody else, I was just a system follower. But this always I always had this particular bug in me, that I always wanted to create something. I always believed in the power of ideas. I always believed in the power of system creation, and not just the system just following that particular system. So we thought of giving this opportunity to all the other entrepreneurs also. So when it comes to Chatter, or when it comes to the cloud kitchens, or with the pick me concept that we're doing, everything is talking about empowering others, or everything is talking about empowering different entrepreneurs. Everything is talking about how can I be of help to you. So when we build a strong ecosystem, so when I always believed in one thing, that none of us is as good as all of us together. So so when I bought different people onboarded with me, when I brought a lot of people who have got the frugal mindset, we thought, let's do it. Let's get ideas from a lot of people, and let's see what we can do together because I believed in one thing, because we do not require a different restaurant or another restaurant. What we require is basically a better management of the existing ones. So that's the entire universe we have created. We have built the entire technology. We have built the entire ecosystem. We have built the entire SOP. We have built the entire module in order to empower a lot of people that are getting in touch with us. This technology, and when it comes to Chatter or Boxo Burger or the other brands that we are talking about, the core function is every time the scalability or the standardization of the process. If you standardize the product, we can hit the topmost of the level. So that's the entire vision that we have. And cloud kitchen, yes, we are excited to work on the cloud kitchen concept. And as we see the world that is moving ahead, we see a lot of potential.
Your business.
Cloud kitchen concept. We are also building a technology wherein we can become a food aggregator like Zomato and Swiggy's of the world, or probably Uber Eats of the world, wherein you can order your food through WhatsApp only. So now you don't have to download a different application to get your food delivered at your place. The basic function again is, we do not want to alter your habits. You already are habitual of using a WhatsApp. So we want to develop that particular tool. So we have built an entire artificial intelligence product to make sure that the food delivery happens on WhatsApp. The food comes to you with a simple click of a WhatsApp button only, because there are 1,500 odd crores downloads of WhatsApp. So we see a huge market which is already ready. But when it comes to the normal applications which are being downloaded, so there's a lot of marketing investment that goes in to download that particular application as well. So we always think frugal. We always think jugaad. So we always think jugaad. What is the next big thing? What is the natural extension to a person's habit? Because we see when it comes to food ordering, you don't have to download a mobile application again, because people are very skeptical nowadays, because people don't want to download a lot of applications now. And WhatsApp, everybody has a WhatsApp. So we are trying to build on an entire the entire food discovery and delivery model on the ecosystem of the WhatsApp, which is already being built for everybody of us to use. So we are always think of frugal ideas. I'm pretty sure there are a lot of people who would be seeing this video and watching us probably offline also after some time. But if at all you got some ideas about food, you want to collaborate with us, I'm really excited to work with you guys also. I'm really open to all the new ideas that you can bring in to the table, and how we can work together either in US, or probably your ideas can come down to India. Whatever the food tech that you're building, whatever the food brand that you're building, whatever the food innovations that you want to do, I'm all here for you all to start working on this project together. The best part is, you don't have to worry about the ecosystem. Why? Because we have already built an ecosystem. We have already built that ecosystem in almost 22 odd states in India. And launching a new product in India would be a cakewalk for you all. So I invite a lot of you all to jump into this entrepreneurship. Daniel and G has been fantastic to bring together all this fantastic entrepreneurs and industry leaders who are sharing their business ideas. And I'm open for all the question and answer that you might have, because this entire session was to ignite that idea. When you look down this particular video, probably there are very less pickup points for you guys, but you would get a zest of the entire business model. You will get the zest of the enthusiasm that we want to build in the system. So this idea, this entire session that we had was just a teaser for you all to connect. If at all you are passionate about this food industry, connect me on LinkedIn, connect me on WhatsApp, Daniel and G, and probably we are getting connected on Discord as well. So you can join me there as well, and we could do fantastic stuff together.
All right, Prashant, that was awesome. We can hear your enthusiasm. Very exciting.
It's amazing what you've created. All right, so I think we're really
Know your business better than anyone. That is why Idea Financial gives you the option to choose from our unique business line of credit or term loan. 2 different products. You decide which one works best for your business. Visit ideafinancial.com to start your risk-free application. know your business better than anyone. That is why Idea Financial gives you the option to choose from our unique business line of credit or term loan. 2 different products. You decide which one works best for your business. Visit ideafinancial.com to start your risk-free application.
Okay, here we go.
Hi, welcome back, and we're so grateful to have you. We apologize for some of the delay we've had, but we're trying to catch up.
I know, but we are really excited now to be able to introduce one of our core sponsors, one of the companies that's making all of this happen, and it is Tiffany Hernandez. She'll be joining us, and she is from Idea Financial. She's the Director of Sales at Idea Financial. Tiffany, welcome.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for your time. My name is Tiffany. As mentioned, I'm the Director of Sales at Idea Financial. We are a direct lender providing business funding to businesses all across the country. But we are not a bank. We're actually in the alternative lending space. So today I have the pleasure of introducing to you the alternative lending space, explaining what type of financing options you have in that space, what sort of needs might better allocate going to a lender using the online platform versus a bank. So just to give you some context, back in 2008, when we had that crash, the banks did close their doors or became a lot more conscientious of the businesses that they were lending money to. Now, may it be that you were just in a more risky industry or the dollar amount that you needed wasn't available or quite worth the time, whatever the case is, this opened up a market for many different individuals to come together and create what is known as the online lending platform or the alternative lending industry. So basically what this is by utilizing financial technology, we have lenders, we have independent sales organizations, we have marketplaces that have all come together to reach out to business owners all across the country and providing economical financing, may it be equipment financing, a line of credit, a merchant cash advance, a term loan, an SBA, you name it. We came here to expedite that process. Now, I will say that it is a space that a lot of business owners are not yet too familiar with, or they're still feeling out. Some business owners may have had not the best experience to opening up to this space, given that when it initially opened up, since we aren't necessarily underneath the same requirements of a bank, we are able to go ahead and put out whatever type of flexible products we see fit. Now, there are some individuals that may have a bit more pricier products, which could very well fit your financing needs at the time. But where Idea Financial came into this mix is that we saw a business owner with a very quality business, it's been running for about 2 years or so and is ready to keep ramping up, keep growing, and all they need is a working capital tool. Now, as mentioned, sometimes the working capital tool and alternative lending can be a bit more pricier. So Idea Financial came together with hoping to be able to bring businesses' ideas to life by bringing that personable touch of a bank while utilizing the financial technology to expedite financing to businesses every day. So for us personally, we're able to provide up to $250,000 in financing within a day to a business from when they apply at absolutely no risk to their credit or cost at all as well. So it's a great way for businesses to begin understanding, okay, what are my options? What am I trying to achieve, number one, for my business? And based on what I'm trying to achieve, what type of financing will complement this? At Idea Financial, we've really taken our time to take more of a consultative approach with the business owners we work with. There's some lenders out there that may not have ever even spoken to one of the business owners they funded. And for us, it's very important we do take this time, especially in today's day and age, just dealing with this pandemic at hand. Financing is of need more than ever. And it is also very important that business owners are prudent with understanding what are my options there, who am I looking at, and what do I need to be aware of when accepting my offers? So today I would like to go ahead and just start with comparing some of the different components you should very much be aware of when looking at your financing options online, and kind of bringing in how Idea Financial can tie you in and get you the financing you need for your business. So to begin, right away, interest rate. Everyone wants to know, how much is this going to cost me? Is it going to be an APR? Is it going to be an AIR? Am I going to have a factor rate? Is it going to be compounding interest? There's many different questions that you must take into consideration when accepting the offer from a lender, from an independent sales organization, whoever you're working with. Now, at Idea Financial, we personally have an interest rate that isn't compounding. So this basically gives business owners the peace of mind to know, okay, if I draw X amount on my line of credit, or if I take out this term loan, I will never exceed X amount. Unlike a credit card, which, as many of us are aware, is compounding every day, every week, every month. But now these days, we are seeing that compounding interest every day. This can make it very difficult to manage your funds, understanding when you can expect to be paying off your full balance due simply by making minimum payments. And at Idea Financial, we want to provide this transparency. So what we've gone and done here is made sure that all the business owners we work with are provided with an amortization schedule that shows them, hey, this is exactly what you can expect from Idea Financial. You do not pay for anything more than you use for the time you need to use it with our line of credit. And with our term loan, as mentioned, once you're paying down your payments, you know that once you meet your end term, you've paid it off in full, you're good to go, and there's no other surprises. One thing I would also like to mention here too is in the space, term is a big thing. And a lot of the business owners today are used to working with other banks. Banks can give you 10 years, 15 years, you name it. In the alternative lending space, we are known to be a bit more quick with financing, although there are definitely individuals who can connect you with the SBAs and other long-term solutions, with Idea Financial, we are one of those individuals that do look to provide working capital within a shorter term period than you would generally see. So what I would say here is it's important to understand how much funds you're borrowing of time and understanding what kind of return on investment you can get based on whatever you're trying to fulfill. So with Idea Financial personally, other lenders in the space may give you 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 12 months, even 18 months to pay back your product for some of those short-term financing solutions. Now, why may that be beneficial to the business owner? Similar to a 15-year mortgage versus a 30-year mortgage. At 30 years, you might have lower payments, but more will be coming out of your pocket at the end of the day. That's why sometimes short-term financing solutions can be an asset to your business. Term loans or merchant cash advances can be very useful for a specific project that you have in hand or upcoming. And while a line of credit, which is one of the products we have as well, is really useful for being able to put towards your business as working capital, flipping that day in and day out, paying it down whenever you've completed whatever project or gotten your return on investment, may it be on inventory, or you've trained up your staff and you're ready to get them going and making some money. Whatever the case is, we've went ahead and provided products that can get you accomplished very quickly for your goals with the ability to continue using those funds over and over again. Now, as mentioned, there are many different entities within the space. So with us specifically, I like to bring up our line of credit the most just because term loans do tend to be seen quite a bit across the space, as well as merchant cash advances. With our line of credit though, one big thing I like to bring up is, once again, it's important to understand what does your product do for you. One very important asset that we have to our line of credit is that we are re-amortizing your payments. Why is this a benefit to the business owner? I'm sure some of you, or maybe you will come to experience it, I hope not though, may have already experienced the times where you've taken on many loans at one time and you have many different payments coming out on different days of different dollar amounts, and it's very difficult to manage your cash flow. So that's why we've come in and created a re-amortizing payment schedule. For those of you that may not be familiar with that term, what this basically means is that anytime you take a draw, it's simply going to reset your term for us up to 18 months to pay back your full balance. So let's say you went ahead and took an initial draw of $100,000 on a line of credit, and you're going ahead and making your regular payments, and then bam, month 6, you need to go ahead and draw again. At that point in time, what we will do is give you an additional 18 months to pay back the initial amount borrowed, combined with the new drawn amount, and we do not ever put interest on top of interest. So this way, you're always going to have ample time to go ahead and make your payments. It's one consistent payment. You don't need to worry about if it's coming out on this date, if you draw on another day, or if it's going to be multiple different payments coming on various days. With us, we know business owners need consistency, especially in today's day and age. So that's one really big quality that I like to make sure that business owners are conscientious of. Again, 1, how does your interest rate work? 2, how's your payment schedule working? Can you expect a consistent payment? Do you get to decide what day that payment comes out? With us, you do. These are all components that can either be a huge asset to your business and set you up for success, or it could really cripple you, depending on if you may have not put that on the best day, let's say payroll. So now on the last point I would like to touch on does have to do with how can you save? What sort of control do you have to determine what's my end of day cost? Now, as I mentioned, there are many different entities that are within the alternative lending space. And one of them that I would like to bring up are marketplaces. Marketplaces are a great place for you to see many different options that you've been approved for, maybe term loans, equipment financing, invoice factoring, line of credits, and they'll kind of show you what you've been eligible for. Now at Idea Financial, we're a direct lender. So we're the ones providing the funding to you. And we've actually taken an approach where we've gone out of our way to not only present the options we can provide in-house, but we've also made sure that if what we are providing doesn't quite fit your needs, we have many different solutions we can go to as well. Kind of taking on that role as a marketplace, but again, being the direct lender, we like to do everything that we can to the best of our abilities to get you the right financing solutions in-house. So how do we exactly do that? One big thing we've gone is making sure that business owners have the ability to, 1, decide what option works best for them. Not only do we present multiple offers at one go, you can actually be eligible for 2 products at one time. We recently just launched one of our bundles, a hybrid offer that allows you to have the opportunity to have one of our line of credits and our term loan up to $250,000 in one time. What this allows you to do is have the ability to take a large lump sum of cash, put that towards your business for specific use, while having the line of credit as a working tool to carry your business forward whenever you need to go ahead and pull some cash and then pay it back down. Now, as mentioned, control is a big thing that's important to us for the business owners. So we've actually taken this a step further by ensuring that with our line of credit, our business owners have every opportunity to save on their interest. Again, be conscientious of what terms you're accepting by other lenders. Some lenders may say, hey, I'm a line of credit. And then you find out that they are really just a bunch of mini term loans every time you take a draw. You find out that, hey, I don't need to hold the funds for this long. I can actually prepay it down in 6 months. How much can I save? Some lenders actually won't give you any savings. Others will still lock you into interest for that month. With us, it's 2 to the day. If you only need to hold the funds for 63 days worth of the time of your term, then you only pay for 63 days worth of interest. It's a great way for you to be able to know exactly what you can expect a day based on your schedule, based on your specific use case scenario, and that's going to only set the business up for success. So while I have the moment, I would love to be able to show you one of our interactive offers, and this actually is a true offer that we recently just funded with a business, and I'll be able to give you some insights into what sort of tools we present to you for you to be able to understand what options you've been approved for, how do they work, what can you expect from your interest cost, and let's dive right into it. So give me one moment while I share my screen with you. Okay, great. So at this point, you should see a nice big congratulations. Here, what you can see is that there's 3 options that this business was approved for. Just so you are aware, it's very, my apologies. You do have the opportunity to be able to go ahead and be eligible for more than even 3 offers, onwards up to 6 or even 7 different offers. In this case, based on this business owner specific use, we recognize that these 3 offers would probably be a good option for what they were looking to use the funds for. So as you can see here, we have our bundle, which is that line of credit and term loan together. We have that repayment term showing the line of credit over 18 months. And then we have another term loan with that repayment term of 18 months. So I'm just going to go ahead and dive in here to kind of show you what sort of transparency and tools we equip business owners with to be able to determine what option is going to work best for them. So let's go ahead and dive into this bundle. So here we'll be able to see both products. Already you can see here that we provide this nice toggle to show you based on the amount you want to take a draw on your line of credit. It shows you exactly what you can expect in interest costs. Now, in the alternative lending space, do not be freaked out if you are not seeing the 2% or 3% years annually like a bank may present you. The reason why this space is very much for business owners who need a working capital tool in a timely and an unsecured manner. That's why the alternative lending space is here, and that's why we function a bit differently than a bank. But nonetheless, I am very proud to say that Idea Financial does by far have some of the very lowest interest rates in the whole space. And here's a line of credit offer. Again, it is a true example. I can go ahead and illustrate that for you. So let's go ahead and just say we want to take an initial $50,000 draw. As mentioned, we only make you pay for interest for the amount of time you need it. This is why we present a daily interest rate. So in this case here, this daily interest rate is at 0.0678%. Now, what does that even mean to the business owner? If we scroll down right here, you can see that we actually show you some examples of how the interest is accruing. And to show the dollar interest cost, we provide that right there at the bottom. So for 18 months, if I go ahead and drag this to the 50, we can see that the most you would expect to pay is just slightly over 1% a month for this specific offer. However, as mentioned, let's say at 3 months, you're good to go and you can pay the full balance in full. Now you're only paying $2,882 for borrowing $50,000 for 3 months. There are no fees besides one fee, which is a draw fee. And it's just a set ratio that's taken off the top of the dispersed amount. So nothing required on your end. And with our term loan, there's absolutely no fees at all. Again, At Idea Financial, you are working with a person, and you'll be working with that business advisor your whole way throughout the experience. So if there's even a component to the offer that you're receiving that isn't quite fitting it, know that here with us, we're actually able to go ahead and tailor these options for you to make sure that it's fitting your needs just exactly right. Now, you may notice that for this example, this shows a weekly payment. We do also have monthly, but for purpose of just showing what a everyday offer can look like for a business needing quick financing, here is a weekly payment. One big thing to keep in mind is that with our line, it is replenishing every single time a payment is made. There is no front loading of interest. So this allows you to get much more use than even the offer you've been approved for. So let's say you did draw that full $78,000 up front. Know that as you're paying down, your line is always replenishing. You're able to continuously drawing from it. And a lot of the business owners we work with today are easily utilizing over 150% before they even reach their first year. This is simply because as you pay, the line replenishes just as you could expect from a bank. And this way you're able to pull and pay down as you see fit. Now, let's go ahead and look at this term loan. It is pretty straightforward here. In this case, we are showing an example of a $120,000 term loan, and the full payback would be $156,000. Now, I will say this is over 18 months versus the 12-month period, so it does give you more time. And here, again, we do have a prepayment benefit, which not all term loans do provide to you. So in this case, we give a 50% savings on remaining interest at time of full prepayment. And what this does is allows you to have the ability to even save more versus what the full payback amount was expected to be. Now, again, these are just two examples of an offer that we recently presented to a business owner that did fund. And whatever your business is going to be eligible for, you'll get that information at no risk to you, the business owner. So I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen at this time. And I would love to answer any questions that anyone may have. So please know that if you would like to reach out to me, you can always contact me at thernandez@ideafinancial.com. I'd be more than happy to go ahead and help you understand how can you go ahead and fulfill your business ideas. So thank you very much for your time. I would love to get to meet each and every one of you to understand what sort of goals you do have your business and how financing can go ahead and bridge that together. So it's a pleasure to be a part of the Funding Stack Summit, and thank you again.
Thank you, Tiffany. That was fantastic. Okay, if you guys want to take a deeper dive, go to email her at thernandez@ideafinancial.com. And of course, check out their website, ideafinancial.com.
Okay, and up next, we're really looking forward to the next session in the next, I believe it'll maybe be in the next Zoom room. It's going to be on the impact of technology of future infrastructure and development. And that is going to be Hassam Kazimzadeh is going to be joining us. And do we have him here? Thank you for being patient with us. The live streaming world is so much fun. And are we going to be joining, is Hassam going to be joining us in this room?
We're going to go to a new room. So we're
going to a new room.
Yep, we'll go
There
to
you
the
go.
new Zoom room. Okay,
right.
guys, see you over there.
See you at the next one. One thing we are definitely seeing the impact of technology on media through this whole virtual summit, which has been amazing.
Yes. So our next presenter is going to be talking about the impact of technology on future infrastructure and urban development. So welcome, Hassam Kazimzadeh.
Looking forward to it.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for the opportunity. My name is Hassam Kazimzadeh, CEO and founder of 3D Continuum, an early stage startup here in San Francisco at the intersection of infrastructure and technology. Also wanted to thank Funding Stack Summit, G and his team has done a great job for making this summit happen and having me as a speaker. So what I want to talk about in my presentation today, let me share my screen. It's about the impact of technology on the future of infrastructure and urban development, and the opportunities for investment in this startup ecosystem and why it matters. As you might be aware, United Nations has projected that the world population is going to reach a staggering number of 9.2 billion people by 2050, which is 3 decades away from now. And one of the predictions is that 7 out of 10 people want to live in dense urban areas. So that's a significant increase compared to what we are experiencing right now, which is around 50%, and also compared to just right after World War II, which was around 30%. So you can imagine the 20 to 30% increase in urbanization, what kind of a strain it imposes into existing infrastructure and also the existing housing stock. So one of the challenges moving forward is how we can address the imbalance between the supply and demand in this sector. For instance, if you look at United States as a country, we are seeing around, on average, 20% of shortage in housing, and this gets even worse for certain states which are more popular for immigration and development, such as state of California or New York. So, for instance, in the United States, we are expecting a demand of 1.5 million dwelling units per year required as people move to different areas for jobs. And the current production rate is around 1.2 million. So this 20% housing shortage can aggregate and cumulatively reach a deficit in the next 2-3 decades. As I said, other states such as California and New York experience this deficit in the higher rate. For instance, in California, this 20% translates to more than 60% housing shortage due to the imbalance between the housing demand and also what the industry is able or capable of delivering within the next 10 years. So there has been, because of this shortage, there has been a major focus on industries that they are at the core and the center of the supply chain for delivering the housing stock, but also the infrastructure associated with supporting these urban areas. So construction industry certainly is at the spotlight here, and what we have been seeing in this sector is increasing costs while also the labor pool is shrinking at the same time. So technology and innovation is a very important parameter here because it enables you to address these challenges such as rising costs and also labor pool shortage through innovation and increasing productivity. So that's why the investment in this area has been rising consistently. Since 2009, which was right after the previous recession, the attention diverted to construction technologies and infrastructure technology companies, and the investment is starting to flow in this sector to help these startups address its technology shortcomings to either increase productivity or introduce new products that helps the sector keep up with the ever-increasing demand. For instance, this study by CB Insights and also JLL shows that since 2009, there has been roughly around $4 billion funding up until 2018. The numbers from 2019 are not in yet, but the prediction is that overall we are looking at around a cumulative $6 billion of investment since last recession, which is a considerable number, and participation from the VC sector. So as I said, it's a limited time and I won't be able to cover all the opportunities and technologies that currently startups are focusing, but I'd like to cover a couple of interesting areas that have attracted more attention as opposed to other. And please feel free to reach out to me after this presentation if you would like to have further conversation or you want to discuss other topics. So prefabrication has been one of the topics that has attracted the construction sector because it allows the construction sector to move away from crowded job sites to potentially a manufacturing like mass production route. And it's not a really new idea, but it has been around since 1960s in Asia and also some other parts of the world where prefabricated volumetric modules were manufactured offsite, similar to car production with all the inside fittings, and then stacked to create larger developments. But due to recent investments, new innovations, new features have been added to this approach or this construction technique that has made it appealing to different parts of the sector. For instance, due to shrinking construction schedule that this product offers, a lot of companies can execute the modular-like construction with a more with a more condensed construction schedule, looking at on average around 20% faster. How much does it? How much dollar does this 20% faster translates to? Really depends on what kind of projects we are talking about, whether it's a multi-story high-rise building or horizontal large footprint of the building. Really, you need to look at it case by case. But overall, by the average 20% faster delivery method, the idea is that potentially you're looking at in the range of 20 to 30% of cost savings along the way. And when we are talking about prefabrication, it can come in a lot of different shapes. It can be pre-fitted volumes of boxes that essentially they get assembled together, whether vertically or horizontally, to create larger developments. Or you're talking about kit of parts, like IKEA sets of kit of parts that they are a combination of panels, parts, and components that a very skilled crew on site can put them together. And as I said, due to the advancement of new design tools and also technical advancement in terms of materials of choice, the design appeal and the architectural appeal on these projects are also becoming competitive with the conventional methods of construction. So instead of bulky industrial-looking finishes, you're seeing very aesthetically pleasing final products that you can use them in a range of applications in the commercial real estate or residential real estate sector. The other interesting and exciting sector of construction technology we're looking at is the use of 3D printing or additive manufacturing. Although a lot of other industries like aerospace and automotive have aggressively integrated 3D printing, construction industry still is a very early stages of integration, still tinkering and experimenting with what's the best way to go about using 3D printing. So one of the projects that we were fortunate to participate was the demonstration projects that we collaborated with National Oak Ridge Lab to create this dwelling unit, which was more of a demonstration project rather than for actual use. It was to experiment with the process of additive manufacturing and what materials we can utilize. Although it's a great technology to streamline all the way from conception to execution, there are still challenges associated with the scalability, with regulation, and other aspects of the construction industry that other methods and techniques have had like 50 or even at some cases 100 years to evolve and experiment. So certainly there are value adds associated with construction 3D printing, but it needs still more time to find its market fit. And some of the experiments that have been carried out by some of the smaller startups across the globe, Icon House has done several low-income housing for regions around the world that they are suffering from affording housing units, and also some demonstration projects, for instance, in Dubai, to show the capability of concrete 3D printing. So this was, in brief, what's going on in the construction technology space and the opportunities for investment. Please feel free to reach out to me on my email or Twitter here for further discussion. I hope that there will be another opportunity to cover more technology integration within the infrastructure, which is also another exciting sector for startups. Thank you and have a great day.
Thank you, Hassan. That was fantastic and very interesting.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Thank you, Mary.
It's incredible what's happening.
Yeah, it is.
It's fantastic. Absolutely fantastic.
So where can people go to find out more information?
So you can reach out to me on my email if you need further discussion about some of these topics that I discuss or other areas that I haven't had the chance to cover. Feel free to reach out to me on my email. But also, my website, 3dcontinuum.com, is a good place to see some of the articles that I write. On my LinkedIn also, some of the posts that I write. You can find me on LinkedIn and add me. There are plenty of articles that every month I write about this topic.
All right, terrific. Okay, everybody, let's all head over to the next Zoom room.
Thank you, guys. Have a great day.
Tom. Have a great day. Take care. think we're here.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Our next presenter is Rupak Doshi.
And his presentation is going to be something that all startup entrepreneurs are going to be fascinated with. It's actually the chicken and the egg problem, and it's how to validate and fund the first 1 to 3 years of your startup. Rupak, thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. So let me quickly share my screen and we should be good to go. All right, so do let me know if you can't see my screen or you can't hear me or anything like that. But my job, our job at OmniSync Incorporated is to ensure that startups get some funding at an early stage where they're undergoing some risky R&D studies. And that's usually a stage that most angel investors or VCs will not touch. And that trend is more and more prevalent with the COVID scenario. So the kind of funding that we like getting these startups is the kind that the startups don't have to actually part any equity with. And so it's actually really beneficial for these startups to actually get to the next stage where they become interesting for traditional rounds of fundraising. So that's kind of our chicken and egg problem that I was talking about and Mary introduced. It's basically when you go to angel investors, they tell you you're too early, but you need some money to actually get to the point where you become interesting for them. So that's the chicken and egg. So a bit about me. I've had a long life in academia, did my PhD in England at Cambridge, came out here to do a postdoc at UC San Diego and did that for a few years. Followed that up with the stint in the biotech industry. So I joined this company called Inhibrx as employee number 30, I think. And then basically the company scaled to over 100 people and is going public this year. So it was really nice to see that entire transition of a biotech startup into a public company. And I've also had startups on the side that I've worked with and advised and kind of led. And these span different areas like consumer biotech, and OmniSync, which is kind of our current company, which is a tech company that helps entrepreneurs. So a bit about what OmniSync does. Our job, like I said, is to get non-dilutive funding for startups and small businesses. And we do that through grants, contracts, and loans and other sorts of alternative financing means. Now, usually these tasks seem to be a bit of a mountain to climb for most entrepreneurs. And so what we also do is provide some back office support and financial support to help startups get to the point where they can scale the summit better with our help. So today I'm going to be talking mostly about grants, and most because this is one of those avenues that are highly underutilized. And I think that they are a really, really cool way of funding the early stages of your startup. Now, this is relevant to the talk because it's really important for entrepreneurs to understand what the difference is between a startup and a small business. A lot of them don't. And so here's the major difference. Everyone knows this example, like Uber versus a cab. The reason why Uber was a startup is because the business model, which is basically how do you make money, that business model was not proven. Basically, you could do everything right as a startup and still come up with something that nobody will pay you money for. And that's why startups are considered risky, because you don't know if your customer is actually going to pay you money for the solution you're developing. Opposed to that, a small business is a company that starts, but it starts with a proven business model. So for example, if you're starting a restaurant or a cafe, you make food, you serve food, people are going to pay you for that. That's a proven business model. So the current talk today is primarily relevant for startups that are searching for business model. And by often, what will happen is that these startups are usually developing something new. So there's some sort of R&D or technology development involved. And that's what these grants are designed to fund. All right, so every year, like I said, the US government actually awards startup grants across all areas of science and technology. Now, these grants are exclusively given to startups. Educational institutions and other kinds of organizations, nonprofits, are actually not even eligible to apply. So this is actually, you can think of it as money from the government that has been set aside for tiny startup companies. Another myth that exists in the world is that these sorts of grants are only given to health or medical companies. It's complete BS, because it actually goes out across 11 different agencies, and it spans across all areas of science and technology, everything from transportation, environment, agriculture, even education. like standards, ocean stuff, defense stuff. And another point here to be made is that a lot of these agencies nowadays are funding cross-disciplinary research. And also most of the startups that are working nowadays with new products are developing, solutions that cross different disciplines, and that makes them eligible for funding across different agencies. So it's a really cool time, to be as a startup for these grants, because so much of it is available. Now, just to give you an idea of the magnitude that we're talking about of funding. So on the left here in the table is actually, median pitch book data that suggests that all of 2019, the total dollar values that was given by angels and seed investors to startups was 9 billion at a success rate of 1 to 2%. Now, out of 100 companies, one gets funded or something like that. And of course, this is dilutive, which basically means that the investors will take equity in your company. Compared to that, these grants actually fund almost half the amount of money that's available from these grants, but at 10 times better success rates. So 15% is your success rate, which is actually really, really good when you compare it to that 1 to 2%. You suddenly are much better off. And the best thing about it is that it's completely non-dilutive. The government has no interest in taking any equity in your company. So imagine getting money from somewhere to fund really early stage and risky, technology and product development without giving anything away. And it's almost too good to be true, but it is, So the grants actually are designed to scale with your company. They, like I said, they fund really, really early stages of a startup, which is idea, idea generation. Most VCs won't even talk to you when you just have an idea, or most investors won't even bother. And the amount of money can go, actually, these are old numbers. The amount of money actually can go up to 250K for a phase 1. You then transition into a phase 2 where you have a bit of a prototype that's been developed, and now you want to refine it and start commercializing it. That's when you can get upwards of, again, that number is low. Now it's up almost about upwards of $1 million that you get just to develop your nice prototype and commercialize it. And then phase 3 is basically for nationwide or international scaling up of your company. And this is where they actually give you matching funding dollars for whatever external angel or VC investment that you can bring in. So again, and that is all non-dilutive. So imagine going to an angel investor or VC investor telling them that, look, you fund me $1 million, I'll get another $1 million, which is completely non-dilutive, which will not affect your equity that you're getting in my company. And that, immediately makes the deal really, really lucrative for the investors. So they'll be much more likely to fund your company. So the point here is that, this program, this SBIR, the Small Business Innovation Research Program, scales with your company's growth. The other part also to think about is that the grants are actually available throughout the year. It's not like they're only opened, in a certain specific area or certain time of the year or something like that. It's available throughout. So it's never too late or too early to start. So you can pretty much go across, the entire year trying across different agencies, trying to find a fit with what you're doing. And here's another interesting stat, which basically says that over the last few years, government spending budget for these grants to be awarded to startups has actually been on the rise. It's been increasing, and that's data that's only available till 2017. But we have data internally for the current years. And in fact, with COVID, the government has been throwing any and every amount of money that they have available to startups for startups to come up with novel solutions to fight, the COVID crisis and other kinds of problems. So, there's money that's increasingly available to startups. And here's the sad bit, right? Like the number of SPR proposals that startups are submitting has stagnated and is not increasing. And that most of the government agencies look at that and get disappointed. But I look at that as an entrepreneur and as someone who helps startups, and I see opportunity because there's so much money that's increasing over the years, and it's not actually being used by startups, which basically means that there's more money available for folks who actually bother applying. So your chances and odds are actually increasing. So then the question obviously begs, that why is it that startups are not applying? Is it just that they don't know about them? There is a bit of that. But our research tells us that the bigger problem is that these are extremely hard and tedious to apply for, these grants. And I'll tell you the reasons why, right? Here's the first one. It's working with the government, which is never easy. It's like trying to do your taxes without the help of TurboTax. It's like, or a CPA, for example. So just to give you an example, this is one of the agencies, the National Health Institute. the guide to do your SPIR is 179 pages, and it still doesn't cover everything you need to know to put in a successful NIH SPIR. So that brings me to the second point. This is one agency, and all 11 agencies operate with their own rules and regulations, which basically means that if you apply for 2 or 3, now you're reading upwards of 500 pages trying to get an idea of what to do. Forget actually going ahead and doing it. And then the other option you have is to hire a consultant, for helping you with an SPR. And the current rate of consultants in the market is about $5,000 per grant. And that's to give you a chance of being able to apply. So we saw this as a major problem. And so we have come up with a solution in OmniSync, which is basically, the nation's first SPR application software that does what TurboTax does for taxes. It's basically, it changes the way you do taxes, or it changes the way you do SPR grants. Think about how you used to taxes with the CPA and how you do taxes with TurboTax. That's exactly the difference here. The software walks you through from the first step of sourcing and finding which grants are relevant for you, all the way through submission at the end. And then we also have post-award management once you actually get the grant. So this software, what it does in general is it removes your administrative barriers of trying to find out everything you need to know and putting together all these different forms. It reduces cost because it's a software that doesn't cost much to us to run. And so we obviously don't charge too many bucks to the clients. And it improves efficiency because it's somewhat automated. And so you can do many more grants within the same time frame. And just to give an example, one of our clients who got on our platform in February, within a month, he was able to apply with no background in grants, first-time applicant. And the next month, he actually got 50K out of the first SPR that he applied for. So, he spent a couple $100 on our platform, got 50K out of it. So no problems at all. So it's something that's really, really relevant. And that's an app development company. It's in digital health. So it gives you an idea of the power of something like this and how it can do wonders for your startup at the early stage. Just to walk you through a bit in a bit more detail of what we do with our software. So the first step usually is, to determine eligibility for your startup, which is usually pretty straightforward. Most startups come out to be eligible, and to do some registrations to be eligible to apply for these grants. Now, there are a bunch of different registrations to be done depending on which agency you apply for. And so some of these are straightforward, and the software walks you through, how to do it, what you need to do it, and where to get it done. Some of them are slightly more complicated. And so what we do offer as an optional is you can screen share, book an appointment with us to screen share your registration process. And that's all included in whatever you pay us. So it's not an add-on that you pay for. It's all included. So our job is to make sure you're all completely registered and good to go when it comes to applying. So just to make a point here that because some of these registrations are hard to do, there are companies out there that basically charge you just to get you registered in this one step. And that goes upwards of, $300 or so. What I'd like to make sure you guys take home from this talk is that this registration is supposed to be free from the government. And it's included with whatever you pay us for everything on the software. So you don't have to pay additional just to get this done. Don't engage these third-party providers just to get this step completed. And then when it comes to the actual, preparing of the grant, we have a bunch of different, guides and support system and tools on our software that helps you put together this grant with the various documents that are needed. We have successful examples that you can look at and know how to write this particular proposal. And we help you organize your entire, application in a project management tool. And so that basically helps you, put together the grant package in a way that it won't be rejected purely because you missed a particular document or you wrote something wrong in one of the forms, for example. And then we also have an add-on that if you need a consultant or someone to just help you write the proposal, we actually have these resources available on the software. So we have technical, grant writers, and these are PhD level folks who have agreed to write the proposal for the startup. If the startup can provide some background materials on what they do, like pitch decks, executive summaries, business plans, whatever you have, or you get on the phone with our writers and just explain to them what you do, and they go and write out your entire grant. And these are all flat fees or heavily discounted on our platform compared to market rate. So it's nowhere close to that $5,000 that you would pay a consultant for. And there's also a budget component to all these SPR proposals, because you need to tell the government how you're going to spend the money. Sometimes these have a few nuances depending on the agency of what you're allowed to spend money on. So it can become a bit tricky to put together your budget. So for this, we actually have a resource where we partner with a firm that has been doing this for the last 20 years. And they actually provide 2 to 4 hours of free consulting to all our companies per month. And so you can basically get your budget done for free through a very, very reliable and trusted source who has a lot of experience doing it. So these are the sorts of things that we provide on our software to help and ensure that all startups come up with a highly competitive proposal that they can submit to the government. Talking about submission, there's also help on our platform for that, because our research tells that entrepreneurs end up taking about 10 hours or so just to do the submission. And this is after having your documents ready to go. And that's not acceptable. You shouldn't have to spend that much time just to submit something to an agency. So we have solved that problem by having a guide, or we basically, again, walk you through pretty much how and where to do the submission, which button needs to get pressed, at every stage. And we actually, in fact, go into your system with the government and prepare your proposal completely ready to go for you to go in, review it, and hit submit. We can't do the submission for you on your behalf, because that is something that is legally not allowed by the government. The government ensures that the money goes to the startup. And I actually think that's a great, limitation, because otherwise you could have scenarios like some of the alternative financing world people, where brokers come in, take the money from, whatever you applied for, and then, put you on the hook to release that money to you. So none of that happens with these grants. The grants directly goes to the company's bank account. And so we kind of help you with doing that. So there's no need to spend all this time just trying to figure stuff out. And then I think I mentioned this right at the start of my talk, where we do have a bunch of support features that help startups, along the way. Grants are something that give you money, but then you need to run your company. And so that money kind of helps you, run your company. So then we have all these support structures in place to help you run the company. And we have a lot of exclusive discounts with our partners. And this is a couple of examples, like Gusto, the payroll software that you can get on all our companies can get 3 months free of that software through us. Brex is a credit card that actually is available for startups without startups having to, put down their personal credits on the line for. And that, everyone through our platform can actually get $250 of statement credit if you go through us. So these are really cool, partnerships that we've established with providers who help you along the way. And just to make that point a bit more blunt, is that we actually have partnerships across a lot of different areas, everything from, financial stuff all the way to real estate if you need it. And we have some killer deals with pretty much all these partners. And the execution happens on our platform, where we guide and ensure that your project actually gets done through these partners who we've vetted. They all chat with you through our platform for the most part, and documentation, everything is managed on our platform. So it becomes a one-stop shop for every startup to launch and scale their companies. Also, just to make a point, if there are folks who are listening in who are service providers and who think that they can do a really good job serving startups, we are always looking for partnerships that are unique, that can serve a particular niche area that startups look for. And we would be very happy to engage in a discussion that on how we can together help these startups do better. And with that, that's my contact. You can get in touch with me anyhow you want. And I believe I'm going to be also present on Discord to answer any questions. But thank you so much for listening.
Oh, Rupak, that was fascinating. I was even clicking on your site during your presentation.
The entire, nudging each other.
Yeah, we
and
should
taking
look into
notes.
that. That was great. So I know there are probably going to be a lot of people over on Discord wanting to ask you some questions.
And once again,
Thanks,
you want to just and the website one more time for where they should go.
Oh, it's just omnisync.io.
.io. Got it. All right. And everyone can head on over to the Discord, and Rupak will be over there answering questions in the AMA session.
And then we'll see you in the next session.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rupak.
CSC Leasing Company has been offering non-dilutive equipment financing for more than 35 years. CSC's financing is non-recourse and does not require warrants, covenants, or giving up any equity in your business. As an alternative source of funding, CSC has financed nearly $1 billion in transactions while providing quicker and simpler transactions than traditional sources of debt. CSC works across all markets, from pre-revenue startups to middle market to large enterprise, as well as a wide variety of industries, and prides itself on saying yes when others tell you no. By financing your equipment instead of paying one lump sum up front, you can spread out your payments and have a predictable, fixed monthly payment that costs less than traditional lenders. With CSC's non-dilutive equipment financing, you stay on the cutting edge by accelerating technology refreshes without costly obsolescence or the hassle of equipment disposal. Explore CSC's solutions at cscleasing.com. you.